we were on a call this morning, Alex, our accountability call, right? And 5 or 6 big time investors on there, and everybody on the call was talking about losing their ass on cryptocurrency. The only one who wasn't was Alex, because he was like, shiny syndrome. I don't play that. He was like, I let that go right past me. He was like, no, nope, I'm a real estate investor. I'm a fix and flipper. Like that shiny rock doesn't tempt me. Like I'm doing my deals.
Yep. Anybody lose some money in crypto? It's been a crazy day. I know everybody.
I've seen a couple people, right?
Yeah.
The memes out there are hilarious.
I know somebody has like 10 Bitcoin and they just lost a lot of money, but I mean it's all paper losses if they keep it, right? Just like we buy a property that's a rental property, if you're gonna hold it for long term, then I mean it almost doesn't matter like that much like that you overpaid when you first bought it, you know. So but real estate and crypto, very different fields. What's up, my deal makers? How's everybody doing? Back in LA. What's up, my man DJ Ill Will in the building? All right, let's see here.
Mr. Camacho, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too, buddy. All right, let me make sure all my settings are straight. How's your day going?
Doing well, and obviously excited for another Ask Alex here, man. It should be a good one. I always love these networking ones. Get to kind of see everybody and hear from everybody. It's always nice talking with you. And I know last week, absolutely a killer presentation from Indar. Just got to learn a lot of value from that guy, and very appreciative for his time. But again, these are just kind of a little bit more of a different day where we get to kind of connect with people a little bit more one-on-one and kind of open up the floor. So always excited for those.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same way. Most of the time we're either interviewing somebody or we're teaching something or making a point or a presentation on something that we're working on, like reviewing deals or cold calling or the house hacking thing that we did. But it's great to just connect with everybody kind of one-on-one. And it's amazing that things are kind of starting to open up. I saw that in Oregon where I was at for 4 days. I'm seeing that in Hawaii. I'm seeing it here in California. So I think everybody's built up this demand to be outside and to mingle and to network with other people and get that FaceTime. So definitely, hopefully, get some of that today.
Yeah, we're excited. I know, like I said, this is a little bit different than usual. Not the interview style. It'll be everybody kind of joining us here on screen in a little bit. But in the meantime, guys, still go ahead and use the chat feature down there below. Let us know who you are, where you're kind of tuning in from. That way we know, who's kind of joining us, and we'll go ahead and get things kicked off here in just a second or two. Obviously for us, busy week, and Alex will kind of give you an update. He just got back into town. He was up in Oregon, and he'll kind of give you guys some insight as to why he was up there. Hint, hint, networking, which we're talking about today. That's what we have is the networking open house. So, without further ado, Alex, why don't you let us know what's kind of been going on your end, and what brought you back here to LA?
Yeah, thanks. Will, I'm happy to be back here in LA. I'm staying in my headquarters in the San Fernando Valley in Encino, and so I went to Oregon for 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, part of Monday, so 4.5 days. The trip was proposed by Nate Robbins, which is the main acquisitions guy for Taro Yarber up in the Pacific Northwest. They flip, I want to say, they do about 50 transactions a year at least. They're rock stars. And one of our Maui mastermind colleagues, mentors, friends, Brian Murray, had been competing or had been training to do this marathon. It's a trail run marathon. And we all kind of basically planned to go meet him there and surprise him. And we did that. And I did it because I knew I was going to be able to hang out with everybody. I'm a big fan of Brian. I also, like I said, I've seen him training all year, these long distance runs, and just to be able to go out there and support him and spend some time with the gang was something we did. I learned a lot from Mike Nuss. Him and his partner own about 80 doors, 80 apartments over in the Pacific Northwest in Portland. So flew into Portland. They do a lot of seller financing. And since we just did this Maui deal, seller financing, and it is a strategy you want to start to having your investors toolkit, because it is something that could really, it could open up a lot more opportunities. And so I got to spend some time with him hiking and talking to him about how he does so many seller finance deals and he gave me a lot of tips and tricks, which is super valuable. And we got an exercise in, which was great, and I got to see a different part of Portland I've never seen. And then I basically had a car ride, a 3-hour car ride down to Bend, Oregon, where the race was going to be. And in that car ride, I got to hang out with Charles McKinney. Charles McKinney is he's not really known very much as far as like he's not on social media a lot, but he's a very successful entrepreneur investor. He owns Certain Lending, which is one of our main hard money lending companies. And so to be able to spend 3 hours in the car with this high level entrepreneur, asking him questions, and he has a direct impact on our business was super valuable. I can't even stress that enough. So did that, and then we got to spend 3 days over at this beautiful Airbnb house. I got to hang out with Brandon Turner and everybody a lot during that weekend, and it was just super valuable to be able to network with them, ask some questions, and just have that little bit of downtime as well. So flew back on Monday afternoon, and now I'm back here in LA. We're working on a couple of projects. We're going to be closing on our Joshua Tree deal this week. We shout out to Kayvon because he's the one that got that deal. We're partnering up on that deal. And then we have a bunch of other stuff that's just in rehab. We're really close on a couple other Antelope Valley deals. I know you've been making a bunch of offers. So I know we're at 9 transactions right now, but once we close escrow on that wholesale deal in 29 Palms, once we close escrow on our Paramount flip, we'll be down to 7, which it would maybe feel like a little bit more, I guess it's been a little bit overwhelming lately with having so many more transactions. I'm not going to lie about that. But, I have people like Brian Davila and other people doing way more transactions than I am. I can lean on them and ask them for questions and just get better perspectives. So I'm happy to be back in LA. We're probably going to be doing a meetup before I leave. So let's get going.
Yes, sir. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and post the Facebook group. You guys who are here, if it's your first time, go ahead and click that and join up. But if you guys are repeat, folks who are always kind of coming out and supporting and part of the Ask Alex tribe, feel free to go ahead and click on that link. And the most recent post up there is going to be a poll that I just posted. And we're just trying to get some more insight from you guys as to what your main focus in real estate investing is. Are you guys doing the fix and flips? Are you guys doing the BRRRR method? Are you looking for long-term rental properties? What are you guys looking for? Because those are things that we will then be able to kind of help you out with and help out as we continue to grow the tribe here. So as I mentioned, we'll go ahead and have you guys click on that when you get a chance and sign in there on the Facebook group and let us know what your kind of feedback is as to what type of investing you're doing. And then Alex, we'll go ahead and kick things off with the first question, and it's kind of related to Facebook, related to social media, Instagram, obviously. How can you use social media to grow your network?
Well, I think the main way that you can use social media to grow your network is to be a creator of content that other people want to see or that will take some value from. If you're out there doing the business, right, you're making offers, you're looking at property, you've got a property under contract, you've got a property that you're currently rehabbing, whatever that is, like if you need to, what you need to do is become a creator, just have that mindset of, hey, I'm creating content, but it's producing content that's valuable to certain people. And then you're just documenting kind of what you're going through. And so that people reach out to you naturally that resonate with what you're kind of working on. So I think that's the number one way there's just become a creator and not just a consumer of the content itself. If you are taking action, you should be able to create some content around that action.
And also, Alex, what are some examples of some beginning ways? Like when you just started, what were some ways that you were creating content?
Well, everybody likes to see, or people are fascinated with ugly houses. So if you're looking at a property that's ugly, then simply just uploading that and saying, hey, I'm looking at this property. You might not have bought it yet. You might not even be ready to buy it yet, but just the fact that you're out in the field looking at property, that's something that you could document. So that's an example. Or when I would make offers, I would, I would make stories about that or post about that. Like, hey, put in an offer on this property. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. So there's just a variety of ways that you could post stuff that you're creating content. Yeah.
I think those are some great examples. And again, if you're just kind of getting started, easiest thing to do is go take an appointment, go see a property. And like you said, post some videos, post your feedback, post what you thought about it, what your experience was like. And even Alex, like you said, if you don't think you're going to get the deal, maybe say why you don't think you are. And then you can grow from that and check back on your story later and kind of get some insight there. So those are great examples for beginners here. Thank you, man.
Yeah. And I know you had made this suggestion. We talked about in the past that you're great at this. I've been good at this during my career, and sharing other people's wins, right? When you see other people that are having success, don't be jealous. Share their wins, repost their wins. Be happy for other people, because it shows that, hey, you have an abundance mindset, that there's deals out there for everybody. But if you're jealous, or you're of other people's success, and that says something more about you than it does about them. So I'm very quick to repost people's stuff, or if I see something that I like that someone posted, I'll put it, I'll add it to my story. Just give credit where credit's due. I'm not, you don't have to over embellish or exaggerate, but if someone got a genuine win and you're seeing that, then repost their stuff, and they'll see that, and then there's that engagement. They're like, hey, I appreciate the high five, right? I appreciate the emojis or whatnot, because we're all trying to just help each other come up. So that just shows that when you're on social media, that you generally are winning and are rooting for other people to win as well as you're trying to win.
100%. And I'll give an example of that. Drew, your old roommate out in Hawaii, just closed his first house hack, and I posted about it yesterday because I've met Drew, when I got to come out and hang out with you. And although we're not the best of friends, like I had a connection with them, and I wanted to say, hey, kudos, man. Like, congratulations on getting your first deal under your belt. I know how long you've been working for this and what you've been doing to put into that. And, Alex Ibarra is a great example too. Like, I reposted your guys's, flip out in Hawaii, because it's like, dude, I'm excited for that kid. I got to see him out there, see the work that he's putting in. And this is big stuff for people when they get these wins. So sharing wins, I think, is a huge way to kind of, like you said, show kudos and show the high five, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just showing support, right? Also, I
What
want to
about
say,
other ways?
well, you could also join groups, like this one and other podcast groups. And I mean, there's a lot of investor groups out there. So just a matter of just like seeing what's out there. I recently was asked to speak at a meetup for some other Hawaii investor group, and I was glad to do it, even though it ended up turning out to be really late at night. It was just like they wanted to hear what I had to say about acquisitions, and having completed close to 100 house flips or investment deals, because they haven't all been flips, despite as me being known as a flipper. We've done I got a couple rentals. We've done some wholesaling, we've done some wholesaling. But the point is that if you join other groups and around other things, you can see what other people are doing. And then that's in social media. It's very easy to find other groups and see which ones you vibe with. That's why we say a lot, like, vibe with the tribe, because we know maybe we're not for everybody, but we're just sharing what we're working on, and then hoping that other people can join us on this journey.
Love it. And, you mentioned this earlier, things are starting to open up now, right? So what about networking in person? What are some ways that I can, start to grow my brand or grow my influence by networking in person?
Yeah. So first I want to disclose that, hey, everybody has to still use caution, right? We're still, not out of the woods. There's still people that are, getting sick and whatnot. So you want to use caution and just not, be reckless. But definitely make sure that you're protecting yourself and washing your hands, doing all that good stuff, right? But my thing here is with the face to face. I found that the deepest relationships and the most powerful relationships that I have are because I've met with people in person in that face to face time. So you have to go out there and be willing to meet people, and not expect to do deals right away. I think sometimes people network and expect to get something pretty quickly, but you might meet someone today and you're not going to do a deal with them for 6 months, 8 months. That's why you got to meet a lot of people, because it's like you're not going to get a deal right away. So they're not simultaneous. You're not going to meet people one day and the same day get a deal, although it could happen. Also, just you got to be willing now to, like, potentially go drive somewhere and go somewhere far to go meet a meetup. I think I went to the Danny and the multifamily Danny and Yoni meetup in East LA.
Yep.
It wasn't the most convenient location, but I wanted to meet those guys. They're rock stars, and I'm glad I went. Because I really respect these other investors, and although they might be working on somewhat different strategies or kind of different type of properties, I still want to learn. I'm still constantly learning. So just make sure that you're on the lookout for all these events, and see what's happening. And so you can participate and be part of the conversation, part of these meetups, and you might have to drive out there. I know Eliam and Mark, they drove like 2+ hours to come to our last meetup. So shout out to them. they're willing to put in the work and drive that far to come learn and come network with other people, right? Well,
That's a huge thing you're saying there, Alex, because again, you can't expect the deal to come right away, and you can't expect to have a deal land on your lap without going to find it, right? So I think the people that are willing to go out of their way and drive a couple of hours to go meet up with people, that shows, that's the gut check when you're driving on your way there. You're like, what value is this going to provide for me? What am I going to be able to grow in my career from doing this? And if you don't figure that out on the way there, then you're going to leave that and be like, I'm probably not going to do this again. But I know Ilium took massive action after coming out. I know Mark has taken massive action since coming out. And, oftentimes it's just that first kind of introduction to something that gives you that spark that you need to go. So sometimes you have to go out on a flyer and do that, right?
yeah. And then when you go to these meetings and you meet people and you see them doing things, it usually exceeds your expectations in my experience. You go there, you meet people, you get inspired, you get specific potential vendors that you can use. You get all types of stuff if you go out there and put yourself out there. But it is work. That's why it's called network, because you got to do some work.
And like you said, Alex, I think we're going to get another meetup together here while you're in town. So guys, keep on the lookout for that. We'll, keep you guys up to date in the Facebook group and get you that announcement. Um, between these kind of networking events, Alex, like whether it is a social event online or whether it is one in person, what are the easiest ways to kind of continue to grow your relationships, after the event is over, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because what happens now? You've met like somebody that you respect. You've met somebody that's doing something that maybe that you would want to do. You've met other people that are in a similar maybe level as you. Like, what do you do next? Well, you need to like start nurturing these relationships, touching base with people, checking back with people. Hopefully, you remembered kind of what their goals were. Hopefully, you remembered what their challenges were, and then you could kind of follow up along those lines. Because again, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, meeting these people and meeting other real estate entrepreneurs, that's just the first step. And then once you resonate with someone, or hey, you vibes with someone, then you need to stay in touch, right? And if you have some like high level conversations with people, you got to continue to follow up and continue to find ways to add value to them. And don't leave. I like to say that you don't want to leave it like on them, like up to them to like follow up with you. You want to be the one that's proactive. You want to be the one that's reaching out to them and just, hey, I met you at this meetup. I wanted to see how your week has went. I know you were working on this, or hey, I had a follow-up question about this, or hey, maybe you and I can go one-on-one and just kind of, maybe I can walk one of your projects, or hey, just continue to be in front of them. Because then you just don't know how you can help them at first, because sometimes it might only be a 5-10 minute conversation. But when you're able to have a longer conversation with these people, then you're able to kind of figure out how you can help each other better. It becomes a lot more clear.
And Alex, that's kind of how I got on your radar, right? Is kind of just following up after events. It was, hey, I attended this event, I learned this, I saw this, and I wanted to know about that. We talked about this last week as well. You're pretty good at sniffing out the questions where people have taken action and where they haven't, right? It's kind of easy to tell. So speaking about kind of some more advanced stuff, what do you think are some advanced tactics for networking? Like, obviously you're way past the beginner game. What are some things that somebody that by all means, like yourself, is an advanced networker? What are you doing at this point in your career to continue to get on people's radars and keep developing these big relationships?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, fly to people. Like I fly to go meet people on a regular basis, at least a couple of times a year, where I'm not getting paid anything to go see them. One example would be when I flew up to Oregon last year to go meet with Mike and his partner Tyler, because they own a portfolio similar to what I want to accomplish, and in a way that I want to accomplish that, with some of it being seller finance in an expensive market. So their blueprint was something I respected highly, but I knew I wasn't going to get all that I possibly could from that relationship just like on a phone call or just on a Zoom call. So I flew up there, spent the weekend, and I'm so happy that I did, because it gave me so much confidence and details on how to like present seller financing, what kind of sellers generally do this, how to structure the deal. There were just all these things that I learned from them that gave me confidence, and now I've done a couple of these deals. So I would say, don't be afraid to go fly somewhere and spend some money. I just flew from Hawaii to Oregon on my dime to go hang out with these people. Probably cost me $1,000 to do this 4-day trip. Not the most money in the world, but also not inexpensive either for 4 days. But do you think I got at least $1,000 worth of value from all that? I think I got 100 times that. So, just be willing to go get on a plane. I do that in Hawaii too. I fly over to Oahu, right, and go hang out with Indar and all these other, people on the island. And because I know that I'm not going to get those golden nuggets just on a 5, 10, 15 minute phone call. But when I get to spend 2 hours with somebody, we're probably going to talk about a lot more things. So I would say that's advanced. And then that a part of that is just being able to invest into like masterminds and get into these higher level kind of networks that are not free. You're going to have to pay some money. So be open to investing in something where you're going to be around a bunch of other people as well, which is a more advanced tactic. You don't need to join a mastermind if you haven't even done a deal yet. But if you're on deal number 5, deal number 10, something you should probably consider, because it's going to speed up your learning curve and give you access to other people that you're not going to get for free.
Huge. Again, I think when you do that kind of approach, right, when you look at it as, hey, I'm going to be willing to fly to somebody, I'm going to be willing to go out of my way to get to somebody, that really does hammer home the fact that it's like, look, I respect you and I respect your time, and I'm willing to come be a part of your time. And that really does kind of set the tone for doing deals in the future, learning. Again, you probably wouldn't have learned all the stuff that you learned from Mike had you not gone up and seen it in person, seen those creative finance deals, and kind of how to go about that. So I know Allison's asking to kind of learn a little bit more about the seller finance deals. And Allison, we'll kind of answer that in a couple seconds once we get everybody on. That can be the first thing that we kind of kick off with and give you some insight. Before we do, though, Alex, just one more question. I'd love to get some final gems from you here. People always say your network is your net worth. Can you give some specific examples of how you've used your network to grow your net worth?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. And people say that often because the people that you're around, first of all, influence you, right? That's why they say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So it's super critical that the top 5 people you spend time with are high level if you're trying to be high level, right? And then also, like, you need to be able to draw upon these relationships. So you're giving, right? You're giving positive energy, you're reposting stuff, you're going out to see people, you're doing all these things that we're talking about here. Now you can actually receive. It's like you're putting deposits into this relationship network bank account, and now you got to be open to receiving and making withdrawals. And then, so for example, I think we had some challenges when we had to do our project management. We're like, hey, we need to get Leica on the phone. We got her on the phone within 24 hours. We had a Zoom call with her, and I was able to ask her. We got like half an hour of her time, which is super valuable. And she gave us a bunch of stuff to help our business, including forms and all that. But that's because I've had built, enough value where I can go ahead and now ask for that favor, right? And then also with Serena, she's like a project manager for Taro, and she's a rock star, and she's like helped rehab hundreds of homes. So, I called on her because she had some other things that we had some issues with, again, with project management. I think Charles, the guy I was talking about riding in the car with earlier, when I flew up to Seattle this past year, I met him, and then because he saw me at the event, the event that we guys were doing, we started talking a little bit more, and he's like, "Hey man, I really think you should give me a shot on doing some of your lending on some of your deals." And I was like, "Sure." And so the next deal I gave him the shot, and then now he's like giving me all these like better rates and better service and better terms. So like again, I'm receiving now, right? I've been putting in, now I'm receiving. And then also like with Brian Davila, I know we had him recently. He's doing dozens and dozens of deals. We're in the same market. That is somebody that I call on a regular basis. Like, hey bro, I'm kind of stressed out about this situation. What do you think about this? Or hey bro, and I'm just calling him when I need him, and he does the same for me. So don't think that you're just like giving, and you're never gonna get anything in return. But you can't be coming into a relationship wanting to take and receive right away either. So like that's where you have to have a balance of like, hey, I'm providing value, and then in return I'm going to ask for it. And I've seen some of the most successful people that do that. They'll call me, hey Alex, I need this favor. Hey Alex, can you do this for me? And if I could do it, I'll do it. If not, then I'll tell them, I'll give them my best response. But they are asking me for things, just like I'm asking now my network for certain things. But it is a give. It's definitely a give and take. And make sure that you understand that you have to give enough to be able to make those withdrawals too.
And I'm starting to see it on my end too. I got to hang out with Steve Rosenberg a couple weeks back. When that happened, he's now messaged me back and said like, "Hey Will, I had a guy he's in my coaching program. He has a couple kind of specific questions about flips and wanted to see if you could connect with him. And I said, man, I would love to give back and give so that I can continue to receive. And so I put it down there in the chat again, guys. I think that is a huge tip right there. You have to be willing to give and receive, and huge tip there, Alex.
Sometimes we don't want to ask for favors. We're like, oh, no, and whatnot. But if you've earned them, then you got to be able to, and I'm so happy. And what do I tell the team all the time? Will, hey, you guys have to push me to use my network more because I don't use my network enough, but I don't know what we need. Sometimes you guys have to tell me, hey, we need this. I think Alex Ibarra did that a couple of weeks ago. He's like, hey, no, we need somebody with lease option experience. And then so I know that Camacho and Tristan and a couple of them over there in Hawaii are starting to learn and do those strategies. So I was like, great, we're going to get a Zoom call with them sometime soon. But it took him to ask me, and then we thought about it together. Oh, hey, wait, this person could help us out with this. And I built a lot of value with them over there. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to give us their time and answer our questions. So again, I had pushed my team and pushed you guys to use me because I built a world-class network. And we got to be able to use that when we need it.
Tap into the network, right? And your network is your net worth. So I love that. And what we're going to do today, guys, is let everybody else onto the screen. Alex, if you make me host, I'll go ahead and take care of the clicks and get everybody in here, and then welcome everybody else here onto the screen. And you guys can kind of join us on here and let us know if you have anything that you need, anything that you want, anything that's kind of going on your end. And we'll be more than happy to kind of connect and grow the network, right?
We got some new faces in the building.
What's up, Mr. Ibarra?
What's up, Jay? What's up,
Adrian? We're doing.
What's up,
I got my mom on the call. Mama's on here. Good to see you, Mom.
Mom is back in the building. Hi, Mom.
We got Tristan and Camo High in here. Probably just Camo High. We'll see who's there, but appreciate you guys always adding value and helping us out. Good to see everybody here. So Alex,
maybe we'll connect later.
Alex, our first question was kind of from Allison, just kind of feeding off of your conversation about the seller, direct to seller. She's kind of wondering, do you have any tips on how to set up those seller finance deals?
Yeah, what I've found and what I've learned is that it's something that they are usually familiar with already or would be open to. There are occasions where you will need to present and explain the differences, but for the most part, somebody that will entertain seller finance might already know what it is, and you're just basically presenting it and saying, hey, would you be open to selling the property on terms? And then, well, what does that mean? Well, it just means that you would become the bank, and then we could work out something directly together. And then, tell me more. Or they'll be like, yeah, I'm like this Maui seller. Like he was like, yeah, I'm open to it. I think that might be a good idea. And then, so it's not like you're hard selling them either on it. It usually is because it's helping them save on taxes, or helping them, reduce their taxable implication on that transaction. So it is a win-win, but it isn't one of those things like you're selling them on doing it either. It's usually, it matches the situation. What's up, Sauce the Boss?
We got Sauce in the building. I see Daniel over there at looks like he's at Home Depot right now.
I know we have the 3 winners. We're trying to reschedule our calls for this Friday, guys. Just keep an eye out for that. Who else we got?
I see Kevin on the call too. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for submitting that offer with us, my man. Hopefully we can get that thing and take that down. We'll see what happens.
Well, we've got a bunch of familiar faces. What's up, guys? Anybody any questions or anything? Any comments? Any challenges? Any tips, tricks, or anything you guys want to talk about?
Your network is your net worth, right?
I got a little something, I'll share. It's nothing crazy, but maybe a little good news, I guess.
Yeah.
So like a few days ago, I was driving for dollars and I came across this property, and I guess it was the owner that was working on his little yard, and I wasn't even gonna talk to him, but I decided to just talk to him, and he told me to get back to him with like in a month because he has 2 homes and he might be selling. So I think that's something good. Awesome. And then today I called this single family home with the unit in the back, and the owner also, first he said he wasn't interested in selling, and then after he just like well, how much do you think it's worth? I'm like, I told him, oh, I'll get back to you if you're interested. And then he just kind of like, he was more interested after towards the end of the call. So he told me to reach back to him. So I'm going to have to figure something out.
Okay.
I just
Dude,
don't know
Ulysses
I don't
is
know what to do now. I'm just like,
you know,
okay.
he's always out there. He's always posting. He's always getting out there and door knocking and getting on calls with sellers. And, so if you're looking for a way to start posting, if you haven't found a way yet, I always am watching Ulysses and taking insight and, again, check out his page. He's always posting and always posting some good stuff on there too.
So what do you guys think I should do next? I mean, because he told me that he would review an offer for that property. Like, I just don't know, like that's as far as I've ever gone, like.
We cut time in half on our end, right, Ibarra? I mean, if somebody gives us a callback time of a month, Alex has always kind of told us like, hey man, call that guy back in 2 weeks. Cause if you call him back in a month, somebody already swooped in at week 3 and got the deal, So that would be my first suggestion. And then, when you do call back, when you do check back in with them, have specific questions that you're looking to get answered. And for us, those are always those 4 pillars, right? Is he motivated? What is the condition of the house? And is he willing to let you come in and confirm the condition? If he isn't, probably isn't motivated. What would his price be? And then what's the timeline? And that's the biggest one that I focus on is if somebody does say they are interested in selling the house, I always just kind of follow up with, okay, well, would you want to do that in 30 days? Or, when were you kind of thinking of selling the property? And that really gets some insight to you. If they don't say, oh, well, I mean, I don't really have a plan yet, then, again, they're probably not as motivated as you thought, right? Alex, do you have any suggestions on the follow-up for a kind of a door knock like that?
I think you hit it on the head. It's just a matter of like checking back with them and then doubling down on understanding the real motivation. As I've told you guys before in the past, sometimes, or oftentimes the motivation's something very personal, people. So, you might have to talk to them several times to understand really why they want to sell the property and why it might be a good fit to be an investor sale. So unless you understand that, you just kind of like just trying to sell them. And I've never bought a property from someone that didn't genuinely have a deep motivation to sell their property. So I think that's why I always look for that and then try to expand on that. But they might not tell you that on door, on the one cold call, on the one that, so you might have to just circle back around several times and don't be afraid of following up too much because it's better that you follow up too much than not enough.
And guys, I was talking about this with our cold callers the other day. There's really like 10, 15 main reasons why somebody would sell their house. It's you're either behind on your taxes, your mortgage, there was a death in the family, deferred maintenance is the big one for those of you that are out there driving for dollars, looking for your own leads. If there's deferred maintenance, that's a very visible cue of why somebody may want to sell their house. If they're an absentee owner, it's often they don't want to be a landlord anymore. They're a tired landlord. Maybe they're the empty nester. They have the big house. Kids went off to college. They got divorced, health issues, job loss, moving to a city, more money, less money. Any of those things are the real reasons that you're looking to identify with somebody as to why they would sell their house. And like Alex mentioned, if they don't have a real reason to sell it, it's really tough to convince somebody that selling their house is the best thing to do.
You guys, I also wanted to say, someone asked me a question yesterday. I was having dinner with a private money lender, and he's like, wow, how come you guys are getting so many deals now? And I had to really think about the question because we've gotten like 5 deals in the last like 30 days or so. And that's not normal. I hope it continues, but it's not normal. And I just thought about it, and really what it comes down to, what I figured, and it's just my idea, I'm not sure if this is true yet, but as a team, we're operating at a much faster pace now. So like, because trust is here within the team. Like I trust Alex Ibarra, I trust Jay, I trust Will. Like we're just moving at a faster pace, and everybody's a little bit more trained than they were 2, 3, 4 months ago when we were, missing deals, because you miss these deals by inches. Miss them by like a couple $1,000s sometimes, right? So if someone presents you an opportunity and then you don't get to it like ASAP and get them an answer, they're going to go to the next investor. So you really need to be able to make decisions fast in this business to lock deals up or to pursue them more aggressively. And I think we're doing that better now because we're more trained. And then we just have better systems in place. So it's not one thing that's helping us get a lot more deals. It's the fact that all of us are working more faster, smarter as a team. So just something I wanted to share with you guys that I'm seeing, in live action.
Huge.
What do you guys think?
That's something they need some help with. I know I appreciate Andy. Andy and I were out driving for dollars earlier today. Did a little bit of door knocking, so hopefully we get some good leads from that. Anybody having any issues with anything that they're doing in terms of marketing, outreach, anything they need some help with? Now's the time. You got 40 other investors on screen here with you that are more than happy to help and provide some insight if you need things.
Hi, everybody. Allison from New York. I just want to ask a generic question. As Alex was talking about systems and team, I'm curious, being new to it as I am, how do you go about building your team and your systems simultaneously so that they mesh and you have, a cohesive product that's able to run the show for you? You know what I mean? And then you have confidence in that team and those systems.
Yeah, so I think you need to start building your systems first, like your system for writing an offer, your system for analyzing a deal, your system for analyzing market, like just having some type of, a system. Because I used to think that I wasn't a systems person until someone in a mastermind like questioned me, and they're like, no, you are good at systems. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, do you have a system for how you analyze a deal? I'm like, yeah, I do. Do you have a system how you write an offer? Yeah, I do. So just make sure that you have your own individual system set up, because then you can't train somebody to do what you were doing because you don't have a system. But if you have a system to write an offer, then you just simply can, train somebody else to do that. And then you're setting up to succeed. That was what happened with me when I had team members last year, where I didn't have enough systems in place. And so they failed partly because of my fault, not because they didn't want it, but because I didn't have things set up. So it's like a balance of, oh, let me grow a team, but you don't even have your ducks in a row. You don't even know what you're doing yet. So it's like you're going to all fail together, because you don't even, if you're the leader and you haven't proven to have success, how are you going to teach someone else to do that, and bring somebody on? It's going to be more difficult. So I would say to get your systems in place, get 1 or 2 deals under your belt, and then begin to figure out who's the next person that you want to, kind of bring on. And that's usually either an admin, rehab, or acquisitions. Those are usually the 3. And so whichever one you're strong in, you probably don't need to bring someone else on in. You need to fill in that hire with, for me, it was admin. That was my first hire, because I'm not good at admin and I'm great at acquisitions, and I'm okay with rehab management. So like, what are we looking for now? Is that we're actually looking for a project manager, because we need that person now in our business. We didn't really need them when we had 2-3 deals, but now that we have like almost 10 deals, it's like we really need that person. So I think it's build your systems, then you could train your team one by one based on what your business needs, and then kind of go from there. Anybody want to add to that? I mean, I know we got a couple of people here that are doing the same thing. Kamohe, the boss. Anybody want to add to that?
I saw Camo, you posted something about growing your team recently, didn't you?
Yeah, sorry, I cut out for a minute. I got a call, so I didn't hear the question.
Well, yeah, we're scaling and growing a team.
Yeah, how do you build your systems and your team at the same time? What recommendations do you have for that question?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's kind of what we're going through right now, and we're figuring it out as we go. But for us, it was so important to first have our systems in place, right? So I think we might have been similar to you, Alex. We were just a 2-man show, right? My wife and I find deals, she does everything else. And we were getting opportunities, but because we didn't have the right systems in place, my time was focused in places that it shouldn't have been. So we limited ourselves in that arena. So really, like, building out our CRM, we sat down and we put together some standard operating procedures, and then we were able to identify the places where we needed help, and then put those people in those right places to really grow. So we had to identify what areas we actually needed the people to be in, build the systems around that job, and then insert the right person.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. What about you, Daniel or Salsa Boss? You guys have anything to contribute here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Absolutely. I think same deal, kind of just get your standard operating procedure going. And then from there, when we bring people on, and granted, we only have 2 people right now, but when we bring them on, just keeping it stupid simple. Like anybody we bring on, we have them just go on cold calling for like a month straight on a dead list. No list is really dead, but you know, one we've ran through a bunch of times just to get them talking, just get them talking, understanding the types of questions people are going to be asking them, and not with a whole lot of risk, we hope, you know, because we've already ran through that list a whole bunch of times on the cold calling side of things. And then another thing we do is just have them hit the MLS and call as an investor, because it's a whole different set of questions, and I feel like a whole different set of things you learn going through the motions with realtors and things like that. So just keeping it stupid simple, like talk to these people, and if you get somebody that's interested, hand it off. Kind of just taking it one step at a time rather than flooding them with everything all at once. Just, you know, master talking, then we'll master negotiating, and we'll master contracts and so on and so forth as time goes on. But at the beginning, just keeping it really simple is what I would add to that.
Awesome. Great question. Thank you, Salsa Boss, for chiming in. All right, guys. Any other questions? I think that was a great one.
Yeah, no, we have one question. Jacqueline, did you have a question up there with your hand raised?
Hi guys.
Hey.
Congratulations on your wins this week.
Thank you.
So I have 2 strategies moving forward for the next year or 2 that I want to work into. I'm already, I have a number of rentals and being a serial house flipper, but with all of that experience under my belt the past 6 years or so, there's other strategies that I want to move into for the next year or 2. One of them is commercial, mixed commercial. That opportunity, there is an opportunity that presented itself 2 weeks ago. And then another strategy that I have been educating myself about is, and I was just wondering what you guys thought about this, because it's a little bit more popular in the States, more so here than in Canada, but lien or deed auction sales and acquiring properties like that. So I've watched one TV show about this, and I'm kind of jumping off of that to learn more about it, and also learning how to, as a Canadian, invest in the States and the legalities of that. But what do you think about the lien and deed auctions of side of things? Do you think that's a good way to, is that more trouble than it's worth, or what do you think of that?
No, I don't think so. But I think it's a very niche, part of investing.
Okay.
Even more than just the general flipping. And there's a lot of nuances to it. So if you were going to do it, if I were me, I would try to find somebody that's actively doing it. And it's not somebody that was doing it 5 years ago, but somebody that's doing it right now. And then try to, align yourself with them somehow. Because if you are actively doing it, then they'll know all those nuances. And maybe you make a little bit less your first couple deals. I don't know how to partner up in that type of niche strategy. But if it were me, that's why I went to go fly and see my buddy, because they were doing a bunch of seller financing, and I don't know anybody in Southern California doing that. So I'm like, let me go fly and meet with them and talk to them, ask them the questions. And I didn't know that many people flipping houses in Hawaii, so I went to go see people that were doing that. So I think it's just a matter of finding the people that are doing it and then aligning yourself with them is what I would recommend.
Okay. Yeah, the show that the TV show that I saw, the gentleman that was doing it, he had secured a bunch of student rentals this way, like through an auction in Texas. They were student rentals, and he was purchasing them for $5,000-$6,000, and then he was renting them out from anywhere from $900 to like $1,200, depending on the bedrooms. And so I was kind of like, that seems to be like a good numbers game. So
Yeah, absolutely. But I
just,
think there's also like the title issues and
Yeah.
I don't think you have title insurance. And again, there's
Okay.
a lot of nuances, when it seems too
Yeah.
true, it usually is. So I think you need to like dig a little bit deeper if that's a strategy you really want to go forward with.
Yeah, no, I don't know yet, but it was just something that that came across my plate, and I was kind of, I wonder what this is all about. So that's what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks, and also sitting down with my realtor, trying to understand how that's relevant and how that would work here for me as a Canadian if I decided to do it here, or if I tried to do it as a Canadian in the US. So just trying to been educating myself about that. So I was just wondering have you ever had any experience with that or what you know about it? So
One of my buddies ended up doing the lien, buying tax liens in other states. But frankly, I haven't heard anything from him. In the last, he said that he spent 20,000 on the course, and he hadn't made any progress after about 4 or 5 months. So and somebody I actually didn't even follow up with and ask because I was kind of like surprised. I'm like, bro, we're friends and I invest full time, and then you want to go buy some random course for like tax liens in another state. And then I haven't really heard much, any success from him. So I actually got to follow up with him. I hope he's doing it, but I'll keep you posted on what he says because he did buy a course on it. So I don't know.
Okay.
And I think I like what you said there, Alex. Like, make sure if you do it, just find somebody that is doing it, that's active. And I think, a lot of people in here, like Warren has recently joined a mastermind. I know Camo High's in one, Daniel's in one. A lot of folks in here are kind of in masterminds that align with what it is that they're looking to do. And that would be a huge way to kind of guarantee some success there, is to align yourself with somebody who's actively, kind of doing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Thank you. I'm a killer and a stickler for doing my due diligence. So I don't think this would be any different. So, yeah.
So what's up, guys? You guys are kind of quiet. I'll start picking on people. Anybody else got some wins or challenges? I got a hard stop at 4, so we still got 15 minutes.
I have a win.
Let's go.
I have a huge win.
Okay.
So when I wrapped up my last flip, I closed on it on March 24th. And we're still in lockdown here in Ontario. So whoever said that they were at Home Depot, I'm very jealous because that is a no-no for me here in my province still. But in the next year, the one strategy that I'm really confident moving forward to, and with my banks and everything like that, is to get into commercial or multifamily. And one of my tenants, they have been my tenants now, phenomenal tenants, for the past 2 years. They own a convenience store downtown, about a 5-minute drive from where they rent the house from me. So the owner of the building, because they don't own the building, they lease the space for their convenience store. And so the owner of the building wants to sell. So they gave me a call and said, Jacqueline, guess what? The building that we're in, the owner wants to sell. The building is going up for sale. We just want to let you know in case you want to be our landlady in that regard. So I called my agent, Steve Kanger, who I've been dealing with, for all of my career of investing, and made him aware of that. So in 2 weeks, we're going to go and do a walkthrough and start looking at numbers and crunching all of that. So, and I had already done some refinancing on another rental that I had, because I've never bird any of my rentals or taken equity out of it. So I did that 2 weeks ago. And then, so I have that money sitting in my account now. So I was planning on using it, putting it towards something else. But now that this commercial building has come up, I might move forward with that. So it pays off to be a good landlady. They give you tip-offs.
There you go. I love that.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. Well, keep us posted on your win and whether you buy that property.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna call on somebody. Let me see. I know Nathan, you were finishing up a flip, weren't you?
Hey, Alex. Yes, I am.
Oh, man. Yeah. So how's it going with your flip? You finished that one?
No, it's going well. We've had about a week. We originally were about 2 weeks behind schedule, and then we're about a week away from finishing, and then so we're going to list soon on the MLS here soon. So it's pretty exciting to see it go full circle. It's about a 10-week project.
Is that your second or third flip?
That one was my first one. My second one, that one's a little bit of a struggle. We haven't heard from the contractor for like a week now. So we're sending our project manager out tomorrow to see what's been going on. Cause I know we had other issues, like he got COVID, he was in the hospital. And so we're trying to, that one's a little bit more of a scary project.
Yeah. All right. Any learning lessons on these deals, your initial deals that you want to share?
Just keeping in communication with everybody and making sure that the whole team's on the same page. That's kind of been the key thing. It's kind of just what I've been learning along the process.
Great. Okay.
Communicate.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yep. Oh, there's Mark. Look at Mark Monet. Mark McMahon in that building. So guys, any other questions, any concerns, any needs, wants? I'm still looking for a project manager. So if anybody knows someone that's a proactive.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah. What's up, Jonathan?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Question. Your thoughts or anybody on this call with any lessons learned on using a HELOC to get acquire second property?
Oh, I think Mark McMahon can answer that one.
What do's, do nots, how to best to go about, using it wisely, using the equity wisely, possible down payment, stuff like that.
Well, I guess what are your concerns? So, and then I guess Mark can help out with that. He's on that a lot.
I mean, I just never done it before, right? So I'm just kind of want to get some thoughts and ideas on that, so that way,
Yeah, HELOCs are cool. We've used them before. In fact, I'm getting 3 of them right now. But just remember that it's a home equity line of credit, so you don't have to use it. It's kind of nice to have, right?
Right.
And it's good for short-term use. But remember, the rates are going to go up. So if you can get a cash out refi, then you're going to get a better rate that's probably fixed. But HELOCs are great for like deposits. They're great for buying a house short-term, and not buying it short-term, but like if you're going to burr it and you can get long-term financing, you can use a HELOC to buy it. You can use it as a tool for sure. It's quick money.
Right. Using the HELOC to buy a distressed property, fix it up, refinance it, and then pay off your HELOC, and then get a new loan, refinance the loan that you originally on the new property, right?
Exactly. It's just another form of what we use private money for most of that. But yeah.
Now let me ask you this, got it. Now let me ask you this: what if I'm using my dad's HELOC, right? And can he transfer once it's in his checking account? Can that be transferred over to me, or how does that work?
You can do whatever you want to with the money. It's your money. They don't control what you do with the money. He can take it out and do whatever he wants to with it. Check with the bank, but typically you can go buy a car with it. You can do whatever you want to with it.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, man.
I like what you said,
Appreciate it.
Mark, using that as a down payment for something that you're going to be able to refinance later, things like that, where it's like a quicker transaction where you're going to be able to pay that rate back before it goes up. I think that's a great way to use it.
Yeah, it's another good thing is if you're a wholesaler and you've got to put deposits in, you can use it as a tool for that too, or rehabs, things like that. So
yeah, you could exactly. You could use it to lock up deals and put a $20,000 deposit EMD or $10,000, and so you could do that across multiple deals. And if you're not going to close on them, you could use that line of credit to lock up the deals and then wholesale those deals. So that's another way.
Yeah, and it was at Bank of the West.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what bank is normally you guys recommend.
I have to check with my wife and I'll tell Alex, but I think it's Bank of the West. A lot of banks aren't doing HELOCs right now, but I think I'd have to look on my phone, it's in my office, but I think it's Bank of the West is pretty bullish on them right now. So, but don't tell anybody.
Okay. All
right, guys.
Are there any strategies on kind of maybe applying with the multiple banks to see which one you get the highest appraisal, or how does that work?
I am not the person to ask on HELOCs. I've done a lot of HELOCs in the past when I was working at the bank, but I haven't done a lot as an investor.
I've never tried to get the most money because I don't, sounds cocky, but I don't need the most money. We just wanted to see if we could use it as a tool. So we didn't, whether we get 350 or 360, it didn't matter to us. So, I guess you could try that, but remember, you're going to pay about $700 per appraisal. So I mean, just be ready to pay the price.
Yeah, and I will add, let me add this as well, that whenever you're doing a HELOC, what I sometimes they'll do like an automatic like approval, like, hey, we'll give you 50,000, but if you want to get 100,000, you have to go through this whole other process, and you might not get the 100,000. So sometimes you're better off just taking what they kind of approved you for, the 50,000. So just keep that in mind.
Cool. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to my office. Sauce is back. He wants to get his desk. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, good to see you, Mark.
Hey, I'll talk to you later, man. See you, Will.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, guys, we got 5 more minutes.
Any big questions?
Come on.
I have a quick ask, if you guys can.
Yeah.
So we're working this short sale. We've been working it for a while. The lenders, I mean, we're close, right? Really close. The story is it's been in pre-foreclosure for 12 years. So this seller owes like 500 grand or something in arrears. But anyways, the property has passed down to the son, and that's who we're dealing with. The son's main concern is that he has no liability financially. I know traditionally in short sales, everything's kind of forgiven and wiped out. But what I've heard recently is that the son may get 1099 on the forgiveness. Has anyone ever heard about that?
Yeah, so I've heard of it. I've done a couple hundred short sales. So it's called like a deficiency waiver. That's kind of what you're looking for. So you can ask for that as a part of the negotiation, that you have a deficiency waiver, because then they might come in and try to get that. The difference between what they sold it at and bought it at, they're going to issue a 1099 for that, for that gain. And then now he's going to have a taxable implication on a pretty large amount. So what I would do is I would go to the negotiator and ask for that. It's a deficiency judgment waiver, because that's really what they're looking for. So that's the best advice I can give you. It doesn't mean that they're going to do it, but it's possible if you negotiate that into the deal that they're not going to issue that 1099. And if they tell you that they can't waive that, you might need to talk to someone above them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on, bro. Thanks.
Anybody else have?
Yeah, I have a quick few things I want to talk about or just bring up. First off, I want to say thank you, Alex. Just not only for this group and what we've discussed here weekly, but just even commenting on my Instagram video, which was the first one I posted. I'm super nervous to do, but it was a fun experience. And also just want to again offer, if anyone wants any of the leads still available. For those of you that don't know, I can provide cold calling leads. Please reach out if you're interested. And also, I would like more info. I can message you regarding that project manager position, or basically what you need help with. Definitely love to get more info on that as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, guys, as we're scaling up the business here in LA and SoCal, we're gonna need help with the project management side of things, and it's been difficult to find that right personality type, because they need to have some construction experience. They need to be problem solvers. They need to be comfortable being in the car a lot of the day. They need to be good, tactful communicators, because they're dealing with contractors, and preferably bilingual, because a lot of the workers are Spanish speaking. So if you guys know anybody that'd be interested in that, it would be like a salary plus kind of percentage of profits type of position. And they would be pretty busy right off the bat, because we have 4 or 5 active rehabs, and we're trying to scale this thing to even more. So just that's my ask to you guys. If you know anybody that might be interested or might be a good personality and or fit for that type of position, then I'm happy to interview them and talk to them and see if it might be a good fit.
Anything else, guys? I know Alex has a hard stop today at 4. Keep an eye out. If you guys do get a chance, as I mentioned, please do go to the Facebook group. I'm going to post the link in here just one more time. And if you guys can, go into there and please do let us know what kind of investor you are. If you're looking to invest in fix and flips or wholesale deals or or buy and hold, BRRRRs, whatever that is. That way we know, what we're able to kind of help you out with the group. Keep in tune for this week. I think we're going to try and do a meetup here either this weekend or sometime early next week, and we'll keep you posted on that as well.
Yeah, so we're thinking of either doing the meetup at our our rehab, our Southgate flip, or we're kind of thinking of doing something a little bit different and doing a hike like at Griffith Park or Hollywood Hills or something like that, where we could all just kind of hike and get some exercise and talk about real estate too. So stay posted for that.
And we'll see you guys on the flip side. Catch you next week.
See ya. Let's go.
Mahalo, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you guys.